In this video, we're going to take a look at installing the third-party software you'll need to get O3DE up and running. Begin by going to o3de.org. Up in the right-hand corner, you'll find a Get Started button. Let's go ahead and click on that. Off in the left-hand side, you'll find some helpful links. What we're interested in is starting with the systems requirement. Go ahead and click on that link. Make sure your system meets the following requirements. Now let's scroll down a little bit. What we're interested in is the software prerequisites. On the next page, they're going to inform you in the setup process that you need to install Git. So I'm actually going to begin with installing Git first. So let's click on the setup process button. This will expand some additional helpful links. Go ahead and click on setting up O3DE from GitHub. Now, this is the page that we would visit after we've installed the third-party software. So for now, I'm only going here just to show you that it requires you to have Git installed and ready to go. So we're going to do that together. Notice in the prerequisites section here, there's a link for the Git client. I'm going to go ahead and right-click on this and open it in a new tab. My particular machine is a Windows machine. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the Windows icon here to download a Windows version. It's prompting me where I'd like to install it. I'm just going to go ahead and hit save. I went ahead and double clicked and ran the installer, and that gave me the Get Setup wizard. Really, there's nothing special about this setup process. I'm just going to click next through all of the options until I get to finish. Now that we've installed Get, let's go back to our systems requirements page on our O3DE website. Down under the software prerequisites, the next thing we want to install is Microsoft Visual Studio 2019. Go ahead and right-click on the link and open that up in a new tab. Now you're presented with three options. I'm just going to go ahead and click on the free download button under Community, and I'm going to go ahead and save this to my Downloads folder. After running the executable, you'll be presented with this Visual Studio installer window. When you click the Continue button, what it'll do is it'll bring down all of the files you'll need to begin the installation process. We're going to be moving back and forth between the O3DE website as well as this window to double check that we've selected all of the options we'll need to get O3DE up and running. Now scroll down a little bit on this page to find the Visual Studio configuration section. Now this particular section is sort of explaining if you already have it installed, you can click the modify button. We're going to do a fresh install, so it's really the same options, but when you click the modify up button, it opens up the previously shown window. So the first thing we need to do is select Game Development with C++. At our installer window, just simply scroll down and look for the gaming section, and then just check on Game Development with C++ checkbox. Now on the right hand side, you'll find Installation Details panel. For me, Windows 10 SDK was already selected, so it looks something like this. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to look for Desktop Development with C++. That's back in the Workloads tab. Just scroll up a little bit above the Game Development with C++ and you'll find it right there. Next, we're going to go ahead and navigate over to the Individual Components tab. Once there, we need to search for this MSVC build tool option. What I'm going to do is just highlight it, copy it, and then I'm going to paste it in the search. Now for me, it was already checked on. So if it isn't for you, go ahead and check that on. And then from there, we can just go ahead and click on our install button. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, let it install. Once completed, let's go back to our O3DE website and look at the next tool that we need to install. The next thing that they want us to install is the Visual C++ redistributable for Visual Studio 2019. After clicking the link, it'll take you to the downloads page. Now, one thing I want to note here is even after running the executable here, notice that it says repair, uninstall, or close. The previous step had already installed this for us. So let's go back to the site and move on to the next step. Next, we're going to be installing CMake. Go ahead and click on the link that they provide. This will take us to the page where we can download CMake. Now I'm looking for the Windows version of the installer. You can see it's the first option under the platform section. Go ahead and click on that and save it. Now after running that file, you can see that we're presented with the CMake installation wizard. I'm going to go ahead and click I accept. Now the only real options that I change here is that I add CMake to the path for all users. We're going to go ahead and let this install all the way through, and then I'm just going to click finish, and then we can move on to the next step. Now that completes the installing of all of our third-party software. If we scroll down the page a little bit here, you can see that there's a little bit of configuration that we need to do for CMake. So what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and press the Windows key, and we're just going to type in environment, and that's going to bring up our environment variables. Okay, so I went ahead and did a search, and just like they did here, I typed in env, and the first option was edit system for environment variables. Now it says choose the environment variables button. Now that's located down here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Now a couple things here. You can see that there are two sections. One for variables for my system, and another one's for the systems variables. Find the path section, which is right here under systems variables, and then click the edit button. Now for me, CMake was already installed, and it might be for you as well. If not, go ahead and complete these instructions where you add the C program file CMake into your systems path. Now, if you checked it on like the previous step, it should already be there for you. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit OK to close this out. On the left-hand side here, go to the Setup O3DE from GitHub. This is what we're going to be doing in the next video.